Persisting with your manifestation means to continue no matter what the 3D opposition or conditions are. Consistency and determination are your besties when manifesting. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Welcome to new viewers. We're talking about persisting, regardless of what's showing up in your 3D and in spite of what you might be seeing in your 3D reality, continuing and being consistent and how to actually persist successfully. That is today's topic. If that sounds enjoyable, then do keep watching, thumbs up, subscribe to my channel. I'd love to have you guys join the community. And on screen, I will pop any extra offers for people who are ready to get coaching or extra support. You want your questions answered. There's tons of different ways to do that, lots of bonus material. So take a look on screen in the description box. And now let's start the video. You have to remember that movement isn't always visible. So things are happening behind the scenes internally in a more subtle way. It's not always physical movement or visible movement to you. So the 3D might appear to be stagnant and not moving. I know a lot of people say I don't have movement, but if you're persisting, that's bypassing what's going in the 3D reality and bypassing what's physically in front of you and what you logically understand about your circumstances right now and saying, well, I'm persisting regardless because that new reality is what's true for me. And you want to stop relying on the 3D reality for validation because, again, it's kind of this illusionary screen in front of you that's temporarily showing the old story, playing out the old circumstances. The new visible changes haven't come in yet, but your job is to persist mentally, to just stay focused on the end result that you want because those results do not magically come in. It's based on your assumptions. And obviously persisting throughout all of this, seeing all of this, still physically experiencing all of this means consistency and consciously manifesting. You need to continue to consciously manifest despite what you're seeing. Persisting is literally, it comes down to being consistent. So what is your current routine? What works best for you? Which methods do you enjoy? What is the end result that you're actually manifesting? Maybe it's something smaller, more short term, but you want to stay focused on that mentally, be consistent every day to the best of your ability. That's what persisting really comes down to. And my top advice, of course, would be specifically to persist with your affirmations, no matter what is shown. Affirmations are such an easy way to loop a routine, to loop a new belief, a new thought pattern, because you're just repeating the same sentence over and over again, and your subconscious mind is taking that in. I'm going to talk in another section more about specifically how this works in the mind, but you don't want to let doubt be the deciding factor of what you're manifesting, what you're accomplishing, how your manifestation is coming together, what you accept and focus on and say, yep, this is my life. You don't want to accept the negative, the lack, the failure of what may have happened in the past. So don't let the 3D reality control your mindset and bring in doubt and say, okay, because I'm having these worries, this anxiety, this self-doubt, that's just what's going on. The manifestation isn't working. Don't let that just be this objective reality for you. And really what's going on in your mind as well is that if the frontal lobe is not engaged, it's only going to accept and respond to what's already stored in your mind, in the subconscious mind, as a belief, as a memory. So if you're not engaging your frontal lobe by putting focus, intention, really deciding, these are the conscious thoughts and the conscious focus I'm going to have. This is the life I want. This is the end result of my manifestation that I'm focused on. I'm mentally rehearsing and visualizing it right now. If you're not doing that, then you're just letting things come in on autopilot. So if you're at a point where you think in your manifestation, just in your day-to-day life, it's more of a struggle and you do need to put more focus into your manifestation because you need to put that effort into persisting and you think this is going to be a conscious effort, maybe even a bit of a struggle initially, then a mental diet is really going to help. So a mental diet is there to bring in positive conscious thoughts and consciously decide and take the action and create the habit of thinking from the end result. When a doubt comes up, just getting into this habit, whenever you think about your desire, working on your mental diet, meaning feeding yourself positive thoughts, positive visuals, positive reinforcement about your manifestation. And remembering that you are ultimately in control. It's your life, your reality, you're the one living it. No one else has power to decide for you what's going on in your life, what you're going to achieve, what's possible for you. It doesn't work that way. So ultimately, you can change your mind. You have the power over your own mind, over your own subconscious. No one else does. And like I said, it might be a struggle, it might be frustrating, and there's nothing here to ruin your manifestation. So if you feel that you need to take a break, just slow it down, get back on track and start afresh, then take a little break and then get back to persisting. That's not giving up, that's not failure, that's just taking a moment to kind of rebalance your mind and then get back on track. That is perfect. That's probably quite healthy. Everyone needs to do this every now and then. I don't have like a perfect manifestation routine or mindset routine that I follow strictly every single day, because you just can't maintain it forever. Like sometimes you need to take breaks, sometimes you need to prioritize and refocus your attention, and that's completely fine as well. And if you are at this point, another thing you can do whilst taking a break to reset your mind and just calm down is trying guided meditations. That's something I talk to my clients about if I feel that they, really would benefit from that. But that is a great method as well, kind of in between, right before you maybe get back into persisting, or as you're doing this as part of your persisting, to refocus, get that tunnel vision on the end result, not on the 3D reality that is playing out around you. It's just a distraction for now. So staying focused, a guided meditation, a guided visualization, that can be very beneficial. And what the goal here really is to set up these manifestation practices as habits, as thought patterns, shifting your neural pathways, the signals and messages between your body and your brain, your automated reactions, all of that is going to shift, but it takes consistency. It takes that persisting. You do have to normalize it and get into a habit of doing it, which then just becomes like this automated habit. So by saying every day I'm going to do this manifestation practice called affirmations, called a mental diet, it eventually becomes second nature. For me as well, I find myself just automatically looping certain affirmations. They just pop into my mind, or I recognize, oh, I need to do a mental diet here. I'm just very self-aware in those ways. And it's a mindset that you have to build up. So remembering that it's not about putting in the bare minimum or thinking, okay, well, I've done something to do with manifesting or I've been practicing it, but to what extent? You can't put in the bare minimum and then expect a full 180 change in your circumstances. So if part of the issue with persisting is this temporary hurdle of replaying old memories, conversations, just replaying that old story, something from those experiences, then a revision is going to be another really great tool. Mental diet is going to be your best friend, consistency, but a revision is another great practice. I have videos on it. I might talk about it more in a upcoming video soon as well. But essentially, you're going to revise the negative memory, reframe it, reshape it. I believe there are probably some therapeutic techniques and practices done as well to help people with like PTSD. But if you really struggle to move past a negative memory, you feel like it's shaped the way you think and feel about yourself and your life, especially, that is the time to apply revision. Just apply any positive assumption, and I'm not going to delve too deep in this video because I have other videos talking about the topic, but reshaping that memory to be more positive, or removing that really upsetting element that happened. Maybe your SP said something, or whatever element of that experience that replays and sticks in your mind, maybe hurts you. Reshape that, reframe it in your mind, and repeat. And finally, to persist in this specific section, before my final points of advice in the final section of this video, you want to minimize negative influences and anything triggering influences. So minimizing it, meaning where possible, everyone's slightly different, but maybe trying to step away from that or minimize your contact with it. Oftentimes this is things to do with media, things online, even online conversations and topics that come up, anything really upsetting or triggering, or if you're in the habit of maybe also negative conversations and gossiping, and if you talk about your own circumstances or you complain about your dating life or something, those are the areas to apply self-awareness and be careful. You want to minimize those things because it's not supporting persisting. It's going to make it harder because you're telling your mind the old story. You're telling it something negative, an assumption about something negative that happened, or current circumstances to do with the state of your romantic life, your career, how you feel about yourself. These things do build up and actually create and build those assumptions in your mind. So you want to be careful. One off here and there might seem like nothing, but if you apply self-awareness, get into these habits, especially the habit of a mental diet, then you'll actually be able to pick up on these things a lot more, maybe catch yourself before that happens. So what's actually happening is your subconscious mind will become more and more saturated with the new story, with the new assumptions and beliefs that you are storing in the subconscious, replacing the negative ones of, maybe I'm not dateable, maybe, I can't advance in this career, good things only happen to other people, whatever these kind of thoughts and things throughout your life. Maybe you've fallen into a bit of a victim mindset, or just a, collation of negative experiences that you've had have built into these assumptions, or things that play in your mind during a bad day, during a bad moment, when you remember this has happened before. It can build up like that. So as you create those new beliefs, as you apply a mental diet, maybe apply revision if needed, and stay consistent, persist, regardless of the obstacles in the 3D reality, you are staying consistent with creating the new ideas. So the subconscious mind is being replaced. Well, not the subconscious mind. The negative assumptions in the subconscious mind are being replaced by the positive ones, and your subconscious will no longer be able to focus on the old story because you've replaced it. Your focus, the patterns and thought patterns that you are shaping, do not align with that at all. So your mind cannot have that as the main focus. You'll also find that you become kind of desensitized to negative 3D events. So things that would trigger you, maybe some negative moments, or I guess you could frame it as a negative movement in your manifestation just showing up in the 3D. You won't panic, you won't spiral, you won't immediately fall apart because something negative has shown up or the old story has played out again. You become kind of desensitized, above it, it doesn't faze you. You'll have some type of reaction, that's normal, but you won't, completely temporarily shatter just because something negative has shown up. You'll also find that you are seeing a lot of physical movement start to come in, more visible, just unexplainable, undeniable types of movement come in, very vivid birds before land, very detailed birds before land. I personally have experienced that and I laugh every time. And I actually just say, thank you, God, because, I pray for my manifestations as well. And, I say, show me the signs or show me the right path. And then when I see these things, I just think it's amazing. So I can vouch that you will see quite vivid birds before land, vivid dreams as well, just things in your day-to-day life, in your reality that reflect back to you that end result. And of course, the basic principle of manifesting, if you are using the repetition to shape your mind, to shape your thoughts, to keep thinking over and over your affirmations, looping them, then your 3D reality has to be impacted in turn. You can't shape your mind and internally shift and start to create those better habits and thought patterns, and then nothing in your 3D reality shifts. Also, as I said earlier, you have to remember there's no such thing as a 180 change coming in your reality without you putting in the work. You can't do the bare minimum and expect, well, I know about manifesting and I've kind of started it, so I expect my results now. You have to understand it takes time to unfold, and it's up to you to keep putting in that effort to persist. So overall, I will say you are very likely to see more physical movement come in. Things start to speed up, take shape more powerfully, but it's up to you to keep persisting regardless of what the 3D reality is showing you right now. And that is where the power, the willpower, the strength has to come in with manifesting. That is the hard part of it. So that is going to be today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed this advice. If you did, please do thumbs up, subscribe, turn on that notification bell, and I will see you next time.